In the annals of American history, certain elections stand out as pivotal moments. Against all odds, Donald J. Trump, a political outsider, emerged victorious. The American people, tired of the status quo, had spoken. Trump's victory was a resounding mandate for change. The sheer scale of Trump's victory sent shockwaves through the political establishment. The mainstream media, which had confidently predicted a Clinton victory, was left speechless. The Republican Party, energized by Trump's victory, experienced a resurgence. The Democratic Party, on the other hand, was left reeling in defeat. The swamp in Washington, D.C. Was shaken to its core. Trump's promise to drain the swamp sent a clear message. Their days of unchecked power were over. Despite the challenges ahead, one thing was certain: Donald J. Trump would not back down. He was determined to drain it. One of the cornerstones of President Trump's campaign was his commitment to securing America's southern border. The wall quickly became a symbol of Trump's determination to put America first. The mainstream media scoffed at the idea of a wall, dismissing it as impractical. But President Trump remained steadfast in his commitment. President Trump implemented a multi-pronged approach to border security. He increased funding for the U.S. Border Patrol and invested in advanced surveillance systems. The Trump administration also took steps to address the root causes of illegal immigration. President Trump's comprehensive approach was a stark departure from the previous administration's policies. President Trump prioritized the removal of illegal immigrants who posed a threat to public safety. The Trump administration implemented a zero-tolerance policy for illegal entry. President Trump also took steps to strengthen interior enforcement. His commitment to restoring law and order resonated with millions of Americans. President Trump took aim at sanctuary cities, arguing they undermined the rule of law. The Trump administration took steps to withhold federal funding from sanctuary cities. President Trump's stance on sanctuary cities was part of his broader effort to restore the balance of power. His actions further solidified his support among his base. From the moment he took office, President Trump wasted no time in fulfilling his promise to secure the border. He empowered ICE to prioritize the arrest and removal of illegal immigrants with criminal records. President Trump also rescinded the DACA program. His swift actions were met with praise from his supporters and criticism from his opponents. President Trump took aim at sanctuary cities, arguing they undermined the rule of law. The Trump administration took several steps to pressure sanctuary cities. The battle over sanctuary cities became a flashpoint in the larger debate over immigration enforcement. President Trump's supporters applauded his tough stance. And throughout his presidency, President Trump faced relentless criticism for his immigration policies. Despite the constant barrage of criticism, President Trump remained steadfast in his convictions. He was determined to fulfill his promises, no matter the cost. His supporters rallied behind him, praising his courage. President Trump's commitment to securing the border was about protecting American lives. His policies made American communities safer. The increased presence of law enforcement on the border contributed to a safer America. President Trump remained undeterred, determined to put the safety of American citizens first. Economic revival, unleashing American prosperity. President Trump understood that securing the border was not only essential for national security, but also for economic prosperity. He recognized that illegal immigration depressed wages, strained social services, and placed an unfair burden on American taxpayers. By reducing illegal immigration, President Trump's policies aim to create a more level playing field for American workers and unleash the full potential of the American economy. One of the most significant economic benefits of President Trump's immigration policies was the rise in wages for American workers. With fewer illegal immigrants competing for jobs, employers were forced to offer higher wages to attract and retain employees. This was particularly true in industries that had been heavily impacted by illegal immigration, such as construction, agriculture, and hospitality. In addition to boosting wages, President Trump's policies also reduced the strain on social services. Illegal immigration placed a significant burden on American taxpayers, who were forced to foot the bill for education, health care, and other social programs for those who were in the country illegally. By reducing illegal immigration, President Trump's policies freed up resources that could be used to benefit American citizens. President Trump's focus on American workers and the American economy resonated with millions of voters who had felt left behind by globalization and open borders. They saw in President Trump a leader who understood their struggles and who was committed to putting their interests first. Restoring respect, America First on the world stage. President Trump's America First policy aimed to restore respect for the U.S. globally. He prioritized American interests, renegotiated trade deals, and imposed tariffs. Critics called it isolationist, but Trump argued it was necessary. America would no longer apologize for its strength or interests. Section 4, A Nation Remade, the Trump Legacy on Immigration. President Trump's presidency marked a turning point in American immigration policy. His unwavering commitment to securing the border, enforcing immigration laws, and putting America first represented a significant departure from the policies of his predecessors. Whether one agreed with his approach or not, there was no denying that President Trump had left an indelible mark on the immigration debate. President Trump's focus on immigration resonated with millions of Americans who had long felt ignored by the political establishment. They saw in President Trump a leader who understood their concerns about border security, national sovereignty, and the rule of law. His policies, while controversial, reflected the anxieties of a nation grappling with the challenges of globalization and demographic change. the full impact of President Trump's immigration policies would continue to be debated for years to come. However, one thing was certain: his presidency had fundamentally reshaped the immigration debate and left a lasting legacy on American politics. His supporters viewed him as a hero who had finally taken on the political establishment and delivered on his promises to secure the border and restore law and order. His opponents, however, saw him as a demagogue who had exploited racial and ethnic divisions for political gain. Regardless of one's perspective, there was no denying that President Trump had left an indelible mark on the American political landscape, particularly when it came to immigration. Section 1, A Nation Awakened, The Rise of the Deplorables. President Trump's message of economic nationalism, secure borders, and putting America first resonated deeply with a segment of the population the mainstream media and the political establishment had dismissed as deplorables. These were hard-working Americans, often from rural areas and small towns, who felt left behind by globalization, ignored by the political elite, and forgotten by the very country they loved. They had watched as their jobs were shipped overseas, their communities ravaged by drugs and crime, and their values mocked by the cultural elite. For years, these Americans had suffered in silence, their voices drowned out by the constant din of political correctness and the self-congratulatory pronouncements of the coastal elites. They had been told that their concerns were unfounded, their values outdated, and their way of life an obstacle to progress. They were made to feel like strangers in their own country, their patriotism questioned, their beliefs ridiculed, but President Trump's candidacy ignited a spark of hope in their hearts. Here was a man, they believed, who finally understood their struggles, who spoke their language, and who was willing to fight for them. He was not a polished politician, but a successful businessman who had built an empire. He was not afraid to speak his mind, to challenge the status quo, or to fight back against the forces that they believed were destroying their country. President Trump's victory was their victory, a repudiation of the political establishment and the globalist agenda that they believed had failed them. They had found their voice, and they were determined to use it to take back their country. They were the deplorables, and they were proud. Section 2, The Silent Majority Roars, A Mandate for Change. The deplorables were not a fringe group. They were the silent majority, the backbone of America, the forgotten men and women who had built this country with their own hands and who yearned for a return to its core values. They were the factory workers, the farmers, the small business owners, the veterans, and the law enforcement officers who had watched their country drift away from its founding principles. They were tired of being told that America was a nation in decline, that its best days were behind it, and that it needed to fundamentally transform itself to compete in the 21st century. They believed in American exceptionalism, in the ingenuity and hard work of the American people, and in the enduring power of the American dream. Their votes were not just a rejection of Hillary Clinton or the Democratic Party. They were a resounding mandate for change, a demand for a return to common sense, for secure borders, for a strong military, for fair trade deals, and for a government that put the needs of its own citizens first. The silent majority had roared, and the political establishment would never be the same. President Trump's election sent shock waves through American politics and across the globe. He upended the paradigm, ushering in an era of unapologetic American strength and national sovereignty. Gone were the days of apologizing for American power. He made it clear the U.S. would no longer tolerate unfair trade deals. President Trump restored American credibility on the world stage. Let's see, Section 4, a legacy forged in steel, the enduring strength of Trump's vision. President Trump's legacy on immigration, like his presidency itself, will be debated for generations to come. His supporters point to the dramatic decrease in illegal immigration, the restoration of law and order at the border, and the renewed focus on putting American citizens first as evidence of his success. They argue that he fundamentally reshaped the immigration debate and awakened the nation to the very real threats posed by illegal immigration and open borders. His detractors, however, view his policies as cruel, inhumane, and a betrayal of American values. They condemn his rhetoric as divisive and argue that his actions have caused irreparable harm to America's reputation abroad. They predict that history will judge him harshly for his handling of immigration. Love him or hate him, there is no denying that President Trump left an indelible mark on American politics and on the issue of immigration. He boldly challenged the status quo, refused to back down in the face of fierce opposition, and ignited a national conversation about the very nature of American identity and sovereignty. Only time will tell how history will ultimately judge President Trump's legacy on immigration. But one thing is certain. His presidency marked a turning point in the American story, a moment when the nation was forced to confront difficult questions about its past, its present, and its future, and for better or for worse, the impact of his policies will continue to be felt for decades to come. Section 1, a legacy of strength, Trump's enduring impact. As we reflect on the Trump presidency, one thing is clear. Donald J. Trump was a president like no other. He was a disruptor, a fighter, a man who refused to be cowed by the political establishment or the mainstream media. He spoke directly to the American people, bypassing the gatekeepers of information. He promised to make America great again, fundamentally shifting the political landscape. President Trump's impact extended far beyond specific policies or legislative achievements. He tapped into a deep well of frustration among Americans who felt left behind. He gave voice to their concerns, validating their experiences. He challenged the prevailing orthodoxy on issues ranging from immigration to trade. Whether one agreed with his policies or not, there is no denying that President Trump was a transformative figure. He broke the mold of the traditional politician, embracing a brash, confrontational style. He proved that a political outsider could ascend to the highest office by tapping into the hopes and fears of the American people. President Trump's presidency may be over, but his impact on American politics, culture, and society will continue to be felt. He has forever changed the way we think about leadership, the role of the media, and the relationship between the American people and their government. His legacy will be debated for years to come, but one thing is certain: America is a different place because of Donald J. Trump. Section 2, the fight continues, preserving Trump's victories. The fight to preserve President Trump's victories and continue the America First agenda is far from over. The radical left, mainstream media, and globalist elite remain determined to roll back his accomplishments. So they say they view Trump's presidency as a detour from their vision of a borderless, globalized world. It's up to the American people to protect the gains made during the Trump years, resist socialism, open borders, and globalism, hold elected officials accountable, and demand they put America first. Preserve the values that have made this country great: liberty, limited government, free markets, and the rule of law. Section 3, the future of America, embracing the Trumpian spirit. The future of America remains bright, but it is a future that must be earned, not assumed. It will require a continued commitment to the principles that have made this country great, a willingness to stand up for what is right, and a rejection of the forces that seek to divide us and undermine our national unity. The Trumpian spirit, the spirit of boldness, of defiance, of putting America first, must live on in the hearts and minds of all Americans who believe in this country and its exceptional destiny. It is a spirit that transcends party affiliation, ideology, or background. It is a spirit that unites us in a common purpose to build a stronger, more prosperous, and more secure America for ourselves and for generations to come. Let us move forward with confidence, drawing inspiration from the past, but never shying away from the challenges of the present or the opportunities of the future. Let us embrace the Trumpian spirit of boldness, innovation, and unwavering patriotism as we work together to build a more perfect union and ensure that America remains the greatest nation on earth. The future is ours to shape, and it is a future that will be as bright and as promising as the American spirit itself. Let us go forth with courage, determination, and an unwavering belief in the greatness of this nation. The best is yet to come.